Good afternoon, YouTube. Just wanted to provide one of a few updates here after having gotten rid of my Langmuir Crossfire Pro. As some of you know, I just recently purchased an STV CNC table, specifically the Sparx 4400. That's the modular table, and just again wanted to just do a short video here to show you guys the workflow. Now that I've done a couple test cuts, got it dialed in, just want to show everybody how it differs from, the Langmuir software workflow. I've done that before, shown you guys how to do a little bit of CAD and CAM, and now I can show you guys how it looks like on the Optimum. So at the moment, you're going to see what looks like Ubuntu, which it is. I'm remotely connected to my computer that's in the garage. I'm currently on my gaming computer. This is the computer I normally use to draw everything on Fusion. And then normally I would post on here or actually on the laptop in the garage and then run my G code from there. In this case, however, I'm connected again remotely to the garage computer that's connected to the controller for Optimum and just controlling it remotely here. So, I could pretty much run the table from here right inside the house without being in the garage. But since we're not going to do that today, we're just going to do a little bit of a cam here, show you guys again that workflow. I'm doing this here in the comfort of my own home. So let's get started. So this is Optimum here, and this is how the controller looks. So once this loads up, communicates with the control box. And one thing that's pretty cool though is that it will actually open up back to that last file that you ran. You can see the G codes loaded here, but again, we're just going to start from scratch here. So first things first, I just go over here to CAM, and so Optimum software is similar to, I guess, SheetCam, in that you just bring in your vector file and just bring it over here to do all your CAM processing here. Now, as far as I'm aware of, this only imports DXF files, so you can't bring anything else like a SVG or anything like that. So let's go ahead and import one of my test cuts here, and all you have to do is just choose that DXF. If you need to scale it at all, you can go ahead and do that and just go ahead and add it. So again, I did mention something like SheetCam. This is similar in that you can just bring in multiple items here and ignore the artifacting and stuff. This is again remote controlled, so I could bring in any of those items, nest them here together. Let's go ahead and close this tab. So let's pretend that I want to put all these together in a nest, and I could just easily do that. Say that my workspace is 18 by 12. Let's set a distance. Yeah, that's about alright. And you can see here, just automatically nested those parts together. Anyways, let's restart. Again, we're going to bring in our DXF. We're just going to do one of them. Close this. And again, you can see as soon as I bring that item over, you can see that those cut paths are already created for me. Now you're also going to see a different type of lead in here, one that I've never seen before or used before, because this is something that Fusion does not provide. But this is what's called a lead center. So before I get into that though, I am going to start messing with these lead-ins. I'm actually going to apply what's called a layer. And the reason why I'm doing this, again, I could be doing this wrong if Optimum wants to correct me, but when I apply a layer, any changes that I do to anything else, I guess kind of defaults itself. So let's go to layers. And what a layer is, again, I'm not a SheetCam user, but if you were using Fusion 360, what a layer essentially is another profile. So if you want to cut something, such as this outside piece, if you want to cut it running different parameters than you would for the hole here and the slot here, you would create another profile. In this case, Optimum has what's called layers. So this test piece will be at a 3/16. I run a much faster speed than 42 inches per minute for the outside. However, for the inside, something like this, I believe this is a 0.425 hole. So for something like that, I'll run something a lot slower, like 42 inches per minute. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. And I don't even need to click the line. I just click right in there because, again, this is a closed geometry. And hit refresh. And now you can see that the kerf value has changed. Not to mention the speed, although you can't see the speed here. Now, if you're wondering about this black layer here, or this black one here, that is basically your default. So what this means is anything that is that falls in the black layer will actually follow the cut speed based on your chart. And I'll show you that once we get over to the controller side. So again, leaving the outside default, which is black, applying the red layer here for the slot and the circle. Close that. Now we can mess with our leads. So I'm going to click this one so we could select this geometry here. And moving the lead in is as simple as simply clicking and dragging. And to change the speed, I can just literally use my mouse wheel up and down. So I can use my mouse wheel, or I could just adjust it here. And I can also adjust whether it's a different type of lead in, lead center. Well, that one will apply. Either go just lead in if I want, lead in, lead out, or no leads. So you know what? Let's use a lead in. Hit escape. I believe, yep, if I click the center there, and I think I do that. No, you know what? I think that's on another option there. But anyways, so you can see I have now applied a different lead in here, applied a different cut speed, as well as a kerf value for that. And I believe, yeah, we just leave all this alone, right? Oh, that's the lead size. So anyways, once we're done with this, once we have our, our cut pads set, we have our layers applied for whenever you need to apply that, you can just go ahead and click the green check mark, and this will post-process that file and bring it right in here. So just as quickly, we imported a DXF. I know a lot of people love SheetCam for quickly importing the DXF, applying the rules, and bringing it right over to their controller. So again, what I was used to being Firecontrol, here I do everything within Optimum. So I've done my cam, brought it over, and now we are going to go to our charts. So because I will be cutting this out of 3/16, remember that black layer that I mentioned earlier about cut speed? You simply go pull up the appropriate cut speeds. Let's just say I'm going to use the default. Load here, click OK. And now what this will do is it will apply the feed rate, it'll apply the cut height, the pierce height, the pierce time, and the arc voltage. So I know I mentioned cut height as well as arc voltage. That's because if you wish, you can simply click here and utilize that arc voltage, in other words, nominal voltage for Firecontrol users, or go to reference automatic and it will reference its voltage once it pierces and adjust to this cut height based on whatever it picks up as a voltage when it pierces. So just like that, we have the item cammed out, we have the item here, we've applied our cut chart, and again, like I said, I am not at my table right now, but I can actually control the table right now if I wanted to. Just move it. Let's just say I'm at the upper left end of my table, as you saw there. So if I back off from that a little bit, and I want to set my start point to be in this corner here, I just click here. And now, when I run this, I run the simulation, it will start from here, go down here to cut these items out. So let's go ahead and play that. And that's it. We have essentially cut our piece out. So again, pretty cool. You could do the cam here. You can just easily bring it over, run this. What is okay? Yeah, you can run it all there, and that's it. So now what I'm going to do is I'll actually bring you guys over to the garage. I'll be doing the cut for something else and just kind of show you how this whole thing, works. Okay, so I just want to apologize ahead of time if you hear any background noise. I have a fan that's running back here just because it is a bit warm in the garage, but that's not going to keep us from cutting. So as you can see here, this is what I just brought over, different from that first video. But just showing you guys that once you bring it over, you've got your cut chart selected, you've got your parts laid out, and I have moved my torch to where 0 is basically here. Now, one cool feature that I really like about this is the park feature. So what you can do is simply jog your torch basically anywhere you want it to be, right? So let's say that after it's done cutting over there, I want it to come over here and park itself. Well, all we have to do is just simply save as parking, and that's it. So once the job is done, once it cuts, it will jog all the way over here and park itself. And we'll get to see that here shortly. Fresh off the table. They're a little warm still, but you can see minimal dross. Again, this just takes a little bit of time to valve and such, but I've got it pretty much dialed in. So barely any dross on these edges at all. Now I do want to point out that the torch did not park itself where I intended. After watching that video that I had just recorded, I noticed that when I saved a parking preset location, I did not specify which parking preset to save that to. So I'm going to take you guys back on over here. So what I failed to do was when I went to the parking preset and I moved my torch, where I wanted it, right? So let's say we want to park it right here. What I failed to do was to choose a parking preset, then save it there. And now, after the job is done, it will revert to that parking position. So again, just a step that I skipped by accident. So again, no fault of the machines, completely my fault. That's it. If you guys want to see any more content or want to see what my take is on the difference between the STV and Optimum versus the Crossfire Pro that I used to run with Firecontrol, feel free to throw in the comments and I'd like to get that video together. Alright, thanks again for watching. Until the next one.